What we're going to have to do for this chapter is look at management styles and 5 different styles, but how they vary. And the way they vary, there's a lot to remember. So what we're going to do is remember an acronym here called COMDAC, just to sort of look at things that if we are asked to talk about a management style, we can fall back on it and remember this acronym to help us talk about it. So what are we talking about? Well, we're going to say management styles, the way a manager gets the best out of their team, can vary in the following ways: how they communicate, the orientation they use, the way they motivate people, how decisions are made, the authority they give to their workers, and also the level of control. And together, this acronym spells COMDAC. So what we can see with communication is, look, that everyone's going to communicate differently because people are humans and every human's different. But some ways, that we're looking at here is, how does the manager communicate with their employees? Is it one way and top down? What that means is the manager just gives commands and instructions with no debate, input, or feedback. Basically, they're just giving orders to be obeyed without question. That is different to two-way and bottom-up communication. That is where the manager not only gives commands and instructions, but also seeks debate, input, and feedback from employees. So it's a two-way communication process. In terms of the orientation, what do we mean there? Well, we're going to say managers in general, what are they focused on? Now, it's not going to usually be one thing or the other. It's going to be a mixture of both. But at one extreme, you could say there's managers who are purely focused on the task. That's called a task orientation. What does that mean? It means the manager is focused on the task at hand. And what that means is getting the job done no matter what. We are totally focused on maximizing performance and achieving goals. That is different to a people orientation, where the manager is primarily focused on the satisfaction, happiness, and well-being of their team members and getting the best out of them. So we're not saying we're not concerned about results with the people orientation. We're just saying the philosophy is we probably get the best out of people if we care about them. Whereas task orientation says, I'm not so much concerned about people, their well-being at work. Let's just get the job done. Focus on productivity and achieving goals. With motivation, which is a separate topic and separate sack on its own, but for now we'll say, how does the manager motivate their employees? We're going to use extrinsic motivation. So that's where you might have heard the phrase, the saying, do you motivate with the carrot or the stick? And what that does is it motivates employees by offering rewards for good performance, the carrot, and punishments for bad performance, a stick. So that's called external or extrinsic motivation. That is different to intrinsic motivation, where the manager seeks to motivate employees by appealing to their drive to maximize and fulfill their potential and be their best selves. There's no rewards and punishments necessarily over here. It's just motivating people to be their best selves. In terms of the decision making, we're going to keep it simple and say, who makes the decisions in the team and in the workplace? Is it centralized decisions? What that means is the manager is going to keep all the decisions with them. So they will make, maybe not every single decision, but all the important decisions. And all the team simply has to do is follow those or implement those decisions on behalf of the manager. That is different to decentralized decision making. That's where the manager makes decisions and the employees make decisions, and they even make them together. So the manager allows the team members to have input into and make decisions and values their feedback. We've got authority. What does that mean? Does the manager keep or delegate authority to perform important tasks? So one approach, we'll say no delegation. That's where the manager does not delegate important tasks and they maintain total authority. So they keep all the important stuff. They don't trust the team, or they think they can just do better than the team. So they don't delegate any important stuff to them. That is opposite to using delegation, which is where important tasks are shared by employees and important tasks are shared by the manager. And we'll say that's where the manager delegates authority to team members and trusts their ability to make informed decisions. And lastly, we've got control. How much control does the manager like to have? How much do they like to control and monitor employees, or do they like to give them the autonomy to manage themselves? If you're not familiar with the word autonomy, it basically means freedom. And the two approaches there are, this manager uses total control, and they're always asking questions to their team, like, what are you doing now and how are you doing it? And so the manager maintains complete control over the team members' daily activities and job performance. Probably tells them what to do and when to do it as well. That is different to autonomy. And what autonomy means is the manager sort of says to the team, you know the best way to do it, and I'm going to leave you to it. So what we mean is the manager gives the team members freedom to manage themselves and their daily performance without the manager poking their head in all the time. And what we're going to end up with is our 6 COMDAC variables, and we're going to sort of place them on a spectrum for each one. We're going to say communication one way here, two-way at the other extreme. Orientation, task-focused versus people-focused. Motivation, using extrinsic motivation here, intrinsic motivation here. Decision-making, centralized here, decentralized here. Authority, no delegation here, delegation here. And control, total control or complete autonomy. And we're going to learn 5 management styles from left to right. We'll start with autocratic, which uses all these things. Then persuasive, which is more towards this end. We've got consultative in the middle, so it strikes a nice balance between all of these. We've got participative, which is starting to get towards all of these things here. And then at the final end of the spectrum, we've got what's called laissez-faire, which utilizes all of these things here.